And we provide that intelligence back to NEMA to help us develop standards, to develop white papers, engineering bulletins, and attempt to improve the installation and use of electrical products. So those four core services can be broken down to code development, and that usually means NFPA codes and standards, but we also pay real close attention to the I codes, to a couple ASHRAE standards, IEEE, UL, and mostly domestic. But on occasion, we'll assist a section with IEC standards, for example. So code development's a big part of it. All four of us field reps serve on technical committees at the national level, both on the NFPA 70, the National Electrical Code, and other NFPA codes and standards. And then after code development, we're interested in code adoption, right? So all four of us focus in on our region through our states and our local jurisdictions that are considering adopting standards that either mandate or permit electrical products, and we provide guidance and assistance on that adoption process. Again, either by serving on committees, providing education and training, or whatever else we can do to assist with that process. Our mandate is to support the adoption of the most current code with no amendments. So we believe electricity works the same. Electrons function exactly identical in every state of our nation, and we believe they should be functioning per the most current National Electrical Code with no amendments. Awesome. And then I kind of alluded to it, the third part of that would be the education and training function, which what we're doing here with the Eastern Section meeting on the 1st. And that's our opportunity to provide as much technical expertise that we can, whether it's on code requirements, code compliance, whether it's product standards, conformity, even possibly certification requirements, performance standards, and whatever, again, NEMA guidance that can be offered on that particular subject or topic. And then last but not least is what we kind of consider like the carry-all basket. We call it member services or industry services. And it's things like research and development. It's things like conflict resolution. So solving problems in the field between parties that are having a hard time figuring something out. Sometimes NEMA can come in there and again, provide our technical expertise to solve the issue to everybody's satisfaction. Natural disaster response. So clearly that's a big issue, especially now in 2020, we have the wildfires out west. We've had our 9th landfalling tropical cyclone this Atlantic hurricane season, and we're still experiencing Sally in the south as we speak. So that's, again, another big part of it. And again, like I said, the big thing is intelligence. It's about intelligence gathering and intelligence sharing. So I would say that's the big focus of what the field rep program is and what we're all about.
That's pretty cool. What do you got now? What could you possibly add to that, Jack?
Well, I'm in Brian duffel bag. He just picks me up and drags me around. You know? He gets all the answers. So but what is important to this group here is the four of us align our territories with the IAI sections. And that's key because we spend most of our time in close contact with all of the IAI chapters and the sections and try to get that information that Brian was talking about, whether it's giving you information or getting that information back, but it's that close relationship and the alignment of our territories that is really key to the program. So we've got that partnership with IAI. We have a great partnership with NFPA, and we've worked. We even stole one of NFPA's field representatives. So that was a bonus for us. So that's what I have to add, and I think most of the chapters, if not all the chapters, know that I do my best to get out to those chapters every year and touch base with the members and try to give them the information, the resources that NEMA has, and it's loaded with resources. I open every presentation I do with the numerous pages of resources that NEMA can provide the industry, and real important information, I think. So,
so your district is up here number 4, right, Jack?
Yeah, I'm the small guy in the group. Yep.
Yep. And then down here across this whole big blue is my buddy Brian.
That's correct.
And then this green here is Tim McClintock.
That's right.
Yep.
And this here is Michael Stone.
Yep.
Who gets Hawaii?
That's Mikey.
Oh,
Yeah, what a bonus for him, right?
Lucky
Mikey
dog.
was actually going to Hawaii this week, and the pandemic kind of changed his schedule. He missed his vacation to Hawaii.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So that is that's Mike Stone.
Yep.
And what's nice about this webpage here is it shows all of the regions, and I'll put a link to that down below in this YouTube channel as well, so that if people have this. But you guys are you're in the United States. You're not Canada, Mexico, anywhere else. You are focused on the United States, right?
Right. Yeah. And we do have a representative in Mexico, and we have an office in Mexico, and Gustavo is our NEMA representative down there, and he he's involved with all of our chapter or section meetings within NEMA. So he is our field rep for Mexico, if you want to call him that. But we do not have a representative up in Canada.
Excellent. All right, and we have Felix Sandoval on online on YouTube watching us right now, and Felix is a new IAEI member. He joined because he became aware of the Western section meeting. He wants to attend the Eastern section meeting, so he's getting the discount from the IAEI, and so he's leveraging that, and he's going to be getting the magazines. And I know, do you guys publish articles in the magazines?
We have been involved with the articles. I was just helpful. I was trying to help the IAI. They just put out an article on the COVID-19 disinfection guidelines that NEMA just put out, and I worked with their editor in getting that into the thing. I've written articles jointly with a couple other people on PV systems and enclosures. So we do get involved with these articles in the magazine.
Awesome. So we got David Engelhardt out there, and he says Brian is his hero.
Yeah.
But he says Jack is a close second. Now, I'm sure David is saying that because now what would he do if Tim McClintock was on and Mike Stone? I mean, that's a tough crew right there.
Well, we're both Florida guys, so we go back a long ways. I've known Dave Engelhardt even long before I came to NEMA, when I was still in AHJ in Florida, and we met through the IAEI, through our local division, which is the Joseph A. Schneeberger Florida Gulf Coast Division,
awesome.
Here in Southwest Florida, and he's a very prominent electrical professional in Southwest Florida. And I admire David Engelhardt and the work that he's done as well. So it's mutual, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, and
you tell Felix that welcome aboard and get involved. We need new blood, and the whole organization is looking for new blood and people to get involved with the organizations and the chapters and the sections. So I welcome him wholeheartedly.
Awesome.
And it's a great organization.
And after this, he's going to start building that contact list. He has my contacts now, and because he's going to be watching that Eastern and the Western section, he'll have those contacts, so we can build relationships online as well. He can reach out to any of us. I mean, you guys are field reps for North America, but I'm sure if you got an email from Felix saying, "Hey, I've got this question" or whatnot, one thing about our industry is we're willing to help each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So
we got Nihat El Sharif saying hey, and we've got
Jeff. How are you, buddy?
We got Jeff Grossi saying Jeff Grossi said to welcome to Felix. So
awesome.
He is glad, and Felix is glad to be here. And Felix says he will get involved, and he says thanks for the welcoming. So that's
Nihat. How's the Canadian air up there?
Yeah, Nihat is out of Saskatoon.
Yeah.
I love that. We got to go visit him one day. Now, wait a second. We're getting off track. Electric vehicle supply equipment.
All right.
Okay, you guys are going to be talking about electric vehicles. When are they going to make an electric vehicle?
Yeah, it's any day now. So we're expecting, the industry. Interestingly, that's going to be a big part of our presentation. So we're going to actually open the presentation with an entire history of the legacy of the electric vehicle and electric vehicle supply equipment. And what a lot of people don't know, and this is just a little teaser of what we're going to see, is we're actually not in the first golden era or golden age of the electric vehicle. We actually had a period of time over 100 years ago when there were actually more electric vehicles on the road than fuel gas vehicles. And it was a prominent technology. And when you think about things like miniature lamps, miniature switches, the battery, the electric motor, AC/DC rectifiers, this technology was developed for the EV market, not for premises wiring systems. So before we were actively engaging in building wiring for lighting and equipment, we had a huge electric vehicle market that collapsed right during World War I. So we're going to highlight that. And the reason is if we don't learn from some of the challenges and mistakes that happened during that era, we are doomed to face those again as we've entered the second golden age of the EV. So that's how we're going to launch the program. We're going to talk about the history of it, and then we're going to jump into the industry itself. Where is it at right now, and where do we think it's going to be in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And we believe there's going to be an explosion, just like there was at the turn of the first century of electrification. And that's going to then get us into the National Electrical Code requirements, some other codes and standards that are applicable, and then maybe round it off with some of the top Q&A that we get in the field, some of the challenges that we see in the field that maybe aren't addressed quite yet in the National Electrical Code. We still have some gaps in the 2020 NEC that maybe will get corrected in the 2023 or future editions. So we'll mention those as well.
That's pretty cool.
One of the things that NEMA is a standards development organization. And we see with all of the different vehicles out there, everybody wants to make their own. They want to be, but what we're trying to do in the section, the EVSE section wants to really standardize the industry. How can we make this standardized so, everybody has the same type of plug, just like you go to a gas station, that nozzle is going to fit in your tank because it's standardized. And so, how can we get that equipment to the point where, all the electricians are going to wire different machines, but they all have the same purpose, and that's key. And there are some things out there right now that are not standardized, and it really is an education to the consumer of what they're going to get into and what they have to look for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. David Engelhart says he's looking forward to wireless chargers. And are you guys going to talk a little bit about wireless chargers?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. They're out there.
Certainly a section of Article 625. We do have some product standards associated with it. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing that market expand or grow dramatically for the individual use, but we are seeing it in the mass transportation sector. So we'll talk a little bit about that, about the differences between individual wireless transfer systems that the typical consumer would use versus possibly the future of wireless energy transfer through electrified transportation. Really neat stuff that's on the horizon. In fact, it might not even be driven by the National Electrical Code, because we're seeing states through their legislatures enact EV-ready provisions for modes of transportation that are both public and private, and as a part of the evacuation structure of a state. So my home state of Florida has decided that there needs to be as many EV charging stations in the routes of evacuation as there are gas stations. So it's going to be a rapidly growing, expanding market in Florida. And that means electrical professionals are going to have to know what the rules are for those systems.
Yeah.
You know, municipalities like New York City, they really wanted to put in, and you know, it's sort of, you know, you like the term contactless and how easy it is to charge your vehicle, and they wanted to put public charging stations throughout the city. But you know, this industry, it's a fast moving industry also, so we have to be careful of, you know, how to implement something that it may be obsolete in 3 years, you know, so they have to be careful. But that is their discussion within the city, is get those contactless charging stations throughout the streets of New York City.
I'm waiting for that. You're driving down the road, and underneath the macadam, underneath that blacktop is your charger, and for the next 13 miles you're charging your vehicle in like little strips, you know?
Yeah.
It's doable. You think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You're going to get in your car. Okay, here's my
cars.
Here's my prediction. You're going to get in your car and you're going to put a credit card in the dashboard. It's going to take a breathalyzer test automatically to know whether or not you were drinking. It'll start your car, and as you're driving down the road, if you exceed the speed limit, it'll just charge your credit card for every mile you go over the speed limit. Right? Toll roads will automatically, I'm telling you, it'll all be electric. Mark my words, I'm going to write a new book called 2084.
So you can fall asleep, you know?
Yeah. And if you do fall asleep, it'll automatically just pull you over. Either that or I'll play you a lullaby. I don't know. So you guys are going to be talking EVSE equipment. And so when we talk EVSE equipment, you're not talking about the equipment that's on the car. You're talking about getting that power to charge the car, right?
Well, you know, for the most part, right? So most of the time we're talking about premises wiring systems, right? So we're talking about the building has energy, and we got to somehow get that energy from the building to the car. What's that interface that's going to do that? And that's typically the EVSE. However, when you're talking about the future, there's another thing that's kind of neat about EVSE that you kind of alluded to, and that is the car itself is a storage supply of an energy source. There could be in the future, there's already, again, standards being developed as we speak for bi-directional flow of energy, export of energy from the vehicle back to the premises wiring system. So you could think about all these portable generators driving around with a Tesla emblem on them that might actually serve as optional standby power sources for the building. So a two-way means of providing energy back to the building and from the building back to the vehicle. So think about the opportunities for things like demand response, have utility charges that are trying to flatten the duck curve. Think about the resiliency to power outages that we have right now. My state of Florida right now has 250,000 power outages due to Sally. Imagine the opportunity of all these rolling portable generators that could be connected back into the grid and supply energy when the utility's down. So we're really excited about all the opportunities that are available for this technology.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to this this presentation on October 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
As part of the Eastern section meeting. This is really going to be a good program. We did a quick piece with Fred Hartwell today. So, and I tell you what, I'm looking forward to his presentation as well, because he's going to be talking about picking the right conductor for the application, and he's got some good educational philosophies on how to get that message across, which I think is going to be awesome. We talked with Joe Andre and Paul Dobrowsky. So those guys are going to be doing grounding. That ought to be a good program. I mean, here's the other thing: you're getting people in these meetings who like Paul and Joe are both on Code Making Panel 5 on grounding, and they're going to be talking grounding. I mean, that's right in their wheelhouse. You can't get any closer to the source on code requirements than the people who are sat on that and who are very influential on that code panel. It's one thing to say, I'm on the code panel and you sit there and you vote with everybody else, or you're there actively making changes and voicing your opinions. So those guys are never shy.
Hey,
Like
Jimmy Rogers, talking about PV being chair of CMP4,
Absolutely. You got the chair of Making Panel 4. He's at the helm of everything coming down the pike, and you just can't get a better lineup than dealing with these types of IAI meetings. So I'm pretty.
I'll throw out a plug for Jack and Mike. So those are your two NEMA reps on Code Making Panel 1. So think about all your definitions. When you think about all your general requirements in Article 110, think about the magnitude of those rules from your requirements for your 110.3 requirements for installation instructions and listing and labeling, all your workspace, all your dedicated space, the reconditioning issues, disconnect blocking means, all your 110.9 AIC ratings, all your 110.10 short circuit current ratings. That's all Code Making Panel 1. So that's Mike Stone and Jack Lyons, and they're looking
forward to it. Looking forward
to your task groups coming up soon, right?
Well,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I just got my so I'm chairing a task group for panel 2, and I put my doodle poll out to try to figure out those days, but I'm on panel 10 as well, and our chair I think it's Jonathan Namath. I think that's who it is. Yeah. So he sent out the note, and we've got our schedules of task group work coming up. So we put it this way. I think somebody was telling me they were putting public inputs in, which I did too. I put public input in moments before 5 o'clock, and I was like 4,000 and something.
Yeah.
There's going to be
over 4,000.
Over
4,000 here somewhere. I wrote it down. I was on the Mr. Sargent joined us last night, and he gave me a number. It's over 4,000 inputs for this cycle. Yeah,
that's amazing. And so here's my thoughts. I'm thinking that we should be going live during our panel meetings and just talking about what the discussions that are going on. I know it's going to be. I know some. For the most part, we'll probably be working in the evening on task groups as well, but I'm thinking of trying to do ways to keep the general public engaged and involved with understanding some of the things that we're talking about. Like I'm on 2 and 10, and we got Jack's on 1, right?
Yes.
Yep. And so Brian, what you were just appointed to something. What were you appointed to?
So for whatever reason, NEMA likes to appoint me to all the NFPA standards with a 7 and an 8 in it. So I'm on the NFPA 78 technical committee.
Yep.
I'm on the NFPA 1078 technical committee. And then just most recently, I was assigned to the NFPA 780 technical committee, which is the standard for the installation of lightning protection systems. Oh. So that's the cycle as well. So we will be having our first draft meetings later this fall. And so stay tuned for that first revision to be published a little before the first draft of the NEC.
Wow. Lightning. What's now 78 and 1078? I'm on those as well. That's your electrical inspections.
And Jack.
And Jack. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Now there's another committee that's looking at remote inspections. And I think, so you think about it. Are you doing that one, Jack?
I am. I'm the principal member, and Don Iverson is actually my alternate representing NEMA on that. And the Standards Council just approved that to go into a revision cycle for 2023. And I think June 1st of 2021 and is the deadline for public inputs for that. So really? The thing will be posted, and you can start putting in your public inputs for that right now. It's open.
Awesome. We were having this discussion. I think I was talking to Michael Hofkin about this, or I can't remember who it was, but a lot of organizations are doing things today remotely. Even the whole concept of you can work out of the house. There's a lot of companies that say, no, we're not going to do that. You got to come into your office, all this good stuff. And there's this drive to say, so much work is digital these days. And this whole COVID thing pushed a lot of those organizations to doing that forcefully. And I think that there's probably a lot of people that are going to get a little different perspective on work-life balance because we're going to be spending more time at the house doing things remotely where we can. So,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think, there's a lot of bad things that came out of COVID and the reasons why we're doing these types of things electronically. But if you think about it, people like Felix and others in other countries wouldn't have been experiencing the Eastern Section meeting, and they have that chance now. So it's huge.
Yep. Absolutely. I don't think I would have had the time to be able to put to help put this section meeting sessions together. With my travel, our schedules are 50% travel. So it's always on the road, and being able not to be able to, but I can provide the education. I've been running Wednesday night webinars since March, and it's a hoot. It's people they want to be involved, they want to get together, and it's given me an opportunity to keep a lot of the chapters in the Northeast together and talk to one another. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, you've been doing some really good things, and I know the industry. I know a lot of people in the industry out there appreciate that, and the more you keep doing that, and I say, a lot of that stuff shouldn't stop. When we get back on the road, we now have the technical expertise to just say, I'm going to hop online, I'm going to share, I'm going to get some other people engaged. These PowerPoint presentations that we do across the country, we can do these things online and help the industry. So
Tom, I don't think they'll ever let you on the road again, because if you stop doing what you're doing for the industry through these webinars, people go into withdrawals.
You ain't right. You know that? There's something wrong with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been working out pretty good. I know my wife loves having me at home, so that's always good.
Good.
Yep, she hasn't kicked me out yet.
The opportunities are immense. So if you think about like the biggest event in the South that both Tom and I participate at, the North Carolina Electrical Institute.
Oh yeah.
We pack 1,000 attendees in a room, right? 700 to 1,000, but there's 14,000 electrical contractors, just electrical contractors in North Carolina. So think about all the other electrical professionals, the design professionals, right, the maintenance guys, the inspectors, the plans examiners.
Yep.
It's tens of thousands. So we get excited when there's 900 guys in the room, right? That's kind of stuff. But like you said, what this affords us is this is more eyeballs. And that means more eyeballs means more sharing the information. And if we're all in the same boat, we want us all to be bailing out the same amount of water, right? And keeping us as good as possible. So I see immense opportunities in this. Like you said, conjointly with travel and doing mixed broadcast with live in-person events. And I've done a couple of those. I've done a couple here in Florida with the Electrical Council of Florida, where we had a live present instructor in the room, and I was broadcasting through Microsoft Teams to the attendees, and it was as if I was in the room. It was fantastic. So mixed technology, and that's the best way to engage when you can't be there in person.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Just checking some notes. I got David Engelhardt. He's out there talking, chatting a little bit about energy, about storage in the vehicles, and being able to provide power.
We really rewrite our whole program, because from what we understand, on the 22nd, that's battery day, and we think there's going to be some new information that's released on some long life batteries, maybe 1 million mile batteries.
Wow.
Getting some power densities that are getting close to fuel gas, and maybe pricing that's coming down to the point where electric vehicles are on parity with gasoline. So if we can start charging vehicles in 5 to 10 minutes, if the price point comes down to the typical consumer automobile, and you can have a battery in a vehicle that lasts 1 million miles, that's it. That's the last little piece of the puzzle, and it's going to explode.
Well, and there's that range anxiety, right? And I know my wife and I have talked about it, and she's made the comments, I don't know if I want an electric vehicle because, what if I run out of a charge or something, right? But you have the same issues with fuel, with gas. I mean, you have a gauge and you know what your charge level is. You know when you're going to need to plug in. The challenge is really the availability of a fueling station. And then how long do I have to stand at a pump, right?
That's right.
You know, so but now I know what's happening now too. These older vehicles like the Leaf, was it the Chevy Leaf or Nissan Leaf?
Nissan, yeah.
Yeah, Nissan Leaf, the Chevy Volt. They're taking those batteries and they're making energy storage systems for residential homes out of them.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
and so
Exactly.
there's that whole concept that, hey, you know, you have all these electric vehicles and then you take the vehicle to the junkyard, but you take the battery out, repurpose it, and now it's supplying power to a home because you could, you know, you look at the what is it, the Tesla power wall, and I think Nissan has theirs as well. And I know we've been working with both Tesla and Nissan, I believe it is, with supplying residential homes with these batteries they can put in their home and it'll last for a period of time. So
Nice.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of buzz around sustainability, and not just, you know, energy conservation or energy efficiency. We know there's a whole energy market, but other things like sustainability and the circular economy, about, you know, about where you get your raw materials, what you have to do to process them, your final product, and then what happens to that product at its end of life. Can it be put back into service? And we certainly see more opportunity for electrical products like EVSE and electric vehicles to be repurposed into other things that are still useful, that you just can't get out of the typical automobile now, and you know, a gas tank and an engine. They get crushed, and maybe you can recycle the metals of them, but it might not be real high productive, high intensity energy. So that's another element of this that's pretty big.
this is good stuff. I tell you. So all I got to say is, for anybody out there who's watching this either right now or later, because this is going to be posted on my Facebook page, which anybody can share. It's on my LinkedIn site, which anybody can share. It's on my YouTube channel, and it's on the Eastern Section YouTube channel. So I got two asks. One, register for the Eastern Section meeting. The link is down below. Second, if you're watching this on any of those other platforms, I'll put the link to the Eastern Section YouTube site. Go to that section, go to that website, go to that YouTube site, subscribe to it, hit the bell, because the Eastern Section, with Jack Lyons in helping out on those committees, hopefully that group will be doing more online stuff and posting some educational material. So Jack, I would suggest I could show you exactly how to do this, and you could stream some of your presentations to the Eastern Section YouTube channel. That would be huge. That'd be huge.
Okay, very good.
So I'll show you how to do that and using these tools, and get you up to speed. And Brian, if you wanted to do something, I can teach you these tools as well. This software that I'm using is free. The YouTube channel is free, and we can share our knowledge and information with as many people as we can. So subscribe and register for the Eastern Section meeting. You're not going to want to miss. And I'm sorry we didn't have Tim McClintock and Mike Stone, because those two guys this is going to be a great program. Great program.
Looking forward to it.
Cool beans. All right. Well, I've taken up most of your evening. I apologize for that. You go have a beer on me.
All right, man.
You can have a beer on me. I'm just gonna check on these, see if David Englehart's got some notes out here. He says it's not sure if it's useful without a supply to keep the charge other than PV or wind. I might not be educated as to their capacity. So he brought up a good point, that you have these electric vehicles and we're charging it from the utility, but then, you know, there's probably an opportunity. You got the electric vehicle, you've got wind power and possibly solar. I know we have in our experience center a photovoltaic car charging station outside. So you could do.
There's a whole lot of integrated products coming up in the market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The world is your oyster.
Woohoo!
All right. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off from the YouTubes and my Facebook and stuff. So I'm going to shut our feed down, stay on. I want to thank everybody for watching this. And registering for the Eastern Section meeting, and subscribing to the Eastern Section YouTube channel and mine as well. And like each of us, I don't know, I know you guys have Facebook accounts and LinkedIn accounts, so we got to build our network together.
All right.
All
Sounds
right.
great. Thank you.
Thank
See you all on
you.
the 1st.
See you guys on the 1st. All right. So I'm going to hit, I'm going to stop streaming here in a second. Jeff Grossi says, thank you. And he also says he doesn't know how we have the time, and he appreciates us. So I appreciate you guys as well. You guys are awesome. All right, everybody. You guys in YouTube land, take care, stay safe, and please stay healthy. And thank you, Felix. Take care, buddy.